What's up, Atlanta? This is your girl, Cherry Garden, and thank you for joining us here again on another episode of Caribbean Focus TV. I am blessed with my wonderful co-host, DJ SVB, in the building, as usual.
That's right. Thanks for
What's up,
having
my
me on the
friend?
show. Thank you guys for welcoming us back right into your living room right here on Caribbean Focus TV.
Most definitely. You guys already know you can always check us out even on Facebook and Twitter. Caribbean Focus TV is what you would search for. Make sure you add us as a friend and follow us. And you know our website, CaribbeanFocusTV.com.
That's right.
As well as, in case you want to give us a little call and tell us some suggestions, give us some feedback, let us know what you have on your mind that you want us to focus on. It's, tell them, remember, babe.
1-866-919-CFTV. That's 1-866-919-CFTV. Or you can also write to us at CaribbeanFocusTV@gmail.com. Sherry, but before I go any further, on today's show, it's a very special show.
Oh, yeah?
Today's show is focusing on one of the Caribbean islands, which is Grenada, who just recently celebrated its 38th independence anniversary.
You're from Grenada, aren't you?
Exactly. Big up to my South Island crew, okay? So I want to say this show is a very special show to me as well, okay? I want to say big shout outs to the Caribbean people. Right now, coming up next is the interview with the Vice President of the Grenada Atlanta Association and the Treasurer, also right here on Caribbean Focus TV. So stay focused. We'll be right back. Let's take a look. Welcome to another segment of Caribbean Focus TV. And on today's show, we focus mainly on the island of Grenada, who recently celebrated its 38th anniversary of independence. Now, for those of you who don't know, Grenada is also known as the Isle of Spice or the Spice Isle. It also consists of 3 islands, Grenada being the main island, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. On February 7th, 1974, Grenada was granted its independence under the leadership of then Sir Eric Matthew Gerry, who also became the first Prime Minister of the Tri-Island State. In our studios today, we have members of the Grenada Atlanta Association, the Vice President, Ms. Cheryl Fegg, and also Ms. Anthea Rollo, the Treasurer, who will educate us a little bit more on Grenada's independence and where the country stands today. Ladies, welcome to Caribbean Focus TV.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ezzy. It's a good pleasure to be here.
How you guys feel today?
Very good.
Very good?
Wonderful.
You see you guys looking all very nice in your island colors and the ice green and gold representing Grenada?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Very good. Well, without further being said, I'm going to get right to the questions. Of course, we know Grenada just celebrated its independence. And it's a great celebration for a small island. It has come a long way. And what we're going to do today is to just educate our viewers as to what led to independence in Grenada. Miss Anthea.
Well, I don't know if I could tell you exactly what led to it,
Right.
but I do know prior to us becoming independent, we went through a very turbulent time, you know, in the events that led up to independence, even while independence came about, even when we were granted independence, and perhaps what should have been like a big jubilant celebration was not felt all around Grenada at that time because of what was happening. We got that in 74, but we had so much going on in 74. And so even when it happened, it happened. I guess it eventually became accepted, and then we just continued. You were independent, and that's what it was at that time. But it didn't change a whole lot, too much in Grenada, except that we became independent from Great Britain, and you had certain responsibilities as an independent nation,
Right.
but you still, in a sense, was under the crown because you still had a Governor General as a representative of the Queen.
Now, there were some events before February 7th, 1974, with a few little governmental or preliminary issues that took place before the independence actually took place. Can you give us a little bit of information? I mean, you don't have to be specific dates, but just give us a little information about that.
Well, what I can remember from being at home at that time is that in 74, like I said, it was very trying. The whole island was shut down at one point. The we have what we call in January was January 21st, I think it was called Bloody Monday, because that was the day Morris Bishop's father got killed. A number of students were, attacked, by forces of the defense force at the time.
Okay, but you mentioned, I'm going to just stop you real quick. You mentioned Morris Bishop. Who was Morris? Tell our viewers who was Morris Bishop.
Well, Morris Bishop was then at that time, he was a member of the New Jewel movement, which later on became prime minister after, that's further along in like 79 during the revolution.
Okay.
And stuff. But these events prior to that, there was a lot of protesting for different reasons going on.
Okay.
And those are the turbulent times. We had no electricity, no boat, no ships could come in. You couldn't get anything,
Okay.
So the island was in dark. We had massive demonstrations and all of that. It didn't stop us getting independent.
Right.
So that's why I say there wasn't much of a jubilant time, because it was trying times during that time, but we still had the independence, because of course when they decided they wanted to be independent, I guess it met with opposition, and a lot of things happened. So
now before independence, Grenada, there was something called the Grenada was granted something before. They were granted a permission to take care of their own internal affairs. Can you give us a little bit of information on that?
Wow, that's taking me back. You trying to let people know my age or something? That's when we were I think that's what was considered an associate state.
Right.
Like you have some islands in the Caribbean that are still flying the British crown.
Right.
Tortola, Montserrat, Turks and Caicos, I think, and some of those islands.
Well, our EC dollar is still, the head on the EC dollar is still the Queen's head, for
yes,
example.
because we have, and these are certain islands in the Caribbean that are considered Eastern Caribbean.
Right.
Because it's not all the islands now. Trinidad has its own dollar, Barbados, Guyana, Jamaica, and so on. So only the islands that have this dollar, that carry the Eastern Caribbean dollar.
Okay.
And with the Eastern Caribbean Bank being in St. Kitts, so these, all these islands, and they have that dollar. So St. Vincent, St. Lucia, Grenada, those islands.
Right.
So we are a part of the Eastern Caribbean, considered that.
Now, I did my own little research, and what I found was that there was someone else who actually was responsible for the internal affairs prior to the independence, and that gentleman's name, I mean, he was a prime minister as well, H.A. Blaze.
Oh, he was a leader early. I'll take you back. He led the Grenada National Party. That's GNP.
Was it GNP or the new
GNP.
Okay.
GNP was the Grenada National Party. That was way back. Lord have mercy. I remember that being a child.
Right.
Now, they were prior to Eric Gary being, and he was the premier of Grenada.
Right.
Before he became the prime minister. That's what it was considered. I guess when we were an associate state,
Right.
you have a premier. And that's what he was. Herbert Blaze was also a premier of Grenada.
Right.
And during that time, they also had turmoil during that time, way back, because at one time, that's just another time. But anyway, we had turmoil then. Herbert Blaze was that. Then came Eric Gary. They had elections. Because I remember elections as a child. My mother was still alive, so I do remember that. And after that came Eric Gary being the premier. And then he became our first prime minister, because he had the request for the independence. He was in power, the leader of the island at that time.
Well, you just answered one of my questions, because I was trying to figure out exactly who was really the first premier of Grenada. Was it Herbert Blaze or Eric Gary? But you just mentioned that Blaze was first.
I think he was before.
First.
To be honest, I can't be too sure, and I can be corrected on that, but I do remember prior to Eric Gary being the premier, he was a leader of Grenada then, during the, I think early 60s or something. But of course I was too young then.
Okay.
But I knew he was up there during those times.
So let me ask you another question. Now, on the specific date when the announcement was made that Grenada is now an independent nation, what exactly took place on that day? Was there a celebration? Was there anxiety? Was there, what took place? Were there parties everywhere?
Okay, during that time, I think I probably was too young. Well, not too young, I guess. I was a teenager, but paying attention to that sort of thing. But of course, the main thing I remembered is the turmoil. We had that. Independence came, of course, we had a rally because that's a big thing in the islands. In Grenada, for independence, we have a celebration. We have parades and stuff. My father was a scout, so they would be part of the parade, all the cadets and everybody. You go to the park, you do a parade. This is things that happen for that. These things were done. They were not stopped. They were done. People took part in it. And people like festivities. We like our traditional celebrations.
Right.
So it was done. But in terms of you saying, yes, we have achieved, we've gotten independence, I can't ever remember feeling that atmosphere because of all the stuff that happened surrounding it. It wasn't a thing where you said, yes, we've achieved this and we've gotten this and so. I can't recall having that experience of, even as a kid, you would know the difference. I think you can feel that if you I don't know somebody who, when you become independent, what it means for you.
Right.
So it was something that was done. We got there. But like I said, we were there, but you're still not there because you're not totally independent unless you become a republic.
Okay, let me turn to Cheryl real quick. Auntie mentioned earlier she didn't want to mention her age on the show, but she said she was a teenager when all this stuff was going on. So she just told us how old she is right now, right? She gave us a really good idea.
Thank you, Anthea.
Okay, okay. So you just mentioned that you didn't feel like there was no real change once it was made official that Grenada is now an independent nation. So in other words, you're saying that prior to independence and after independence, there was no real difference in how the country was run, or what production was what state the country was at that production level.
Not really, because chief crops in Grenada: bananas, nutmeg, and cocoa.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not here.
So a lot of stuff we have to import. Okay. So which one of the reasons when they talk independence, what are you independent? How are you looking to make your country independent of all these importations and different things that you have? So really, none of that actually changed because we still had to get a lot of stuff from outside.
Okay.
And that was our main industry. Agriculture is our main industry. Then tourism. But then, of course, if you have situations going on and tourism is not, what do you have as bringing in revenue? You see what I'm saying?
So the export of the nutmeg, the cocoa, and the banana pretty much came back to the island after it became an independent nation, or?
Well, it didn't go away. I mean, that's all. We've had that before. We've had that during that time.
Okay.
I mean, over the years now, the banana situation, well, I guess everybody knows what that is now. It's all been changed. There's been so much trouble with the bananas from the Caribbean, and it's not as before. We had the monopoly before in sending it overseas, but then now you remember everybody talk about the banana boat, how you come here by the banana boat. You know how people had that ignorant statement they would make to us.
Okay.
But the banana boat did actually bring bananas to England, and that's how. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's take a short break. We'll be taking a short break right here on Caribbean Focus TV. We're talking about the Grenada independence as it celebrates its 38th anniversary of independence. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
I'm a Superman, and thanks to Lois Lane. Used to weigh my problems when I went insane. Took me from the depths when I lost my name. Ooh, give me something I could live for. Now everyone is wondering what's the change. They don't recognize I have so much to say. And I never thought someone could love someone so much that they'd give up on everything. You know, I will be there when you need me. I will be there when you cry, baby. I will be there when you need someone to tell you that you're beautiful, baby. I will be there when you need someone to run with. I will be there when you need someone to dance with. I'm your lover till the skies turn gray, girl, 'cause you're beautiful, baby. It's Yes, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. Yes, you're beautiful, baby. Yes, you're beautiful. Yes, you're beautiful. Yes, you're beautiful, baby. Feel butterflies when I'm in your hands. You can turn the pavement into white sand. You can make a moment a memory in a glance. And I can't believe anyone else. Everybody's talking, you're always shining. You never stop listening, baby. And I never thought someone could love someone so much that give up on everything. I know I will be there when you need me. I will be there when you cry, baby. I will be there when you need someone to tell you that you're beautiful, baby. I will be there when you need someone to run away. I will be there when you need someone to dance with. I'm your lover till the sky is in gray, girl. Oh, you're beautiful, baby. Till it's beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. Yes, you're beautiful, baby. Oh, yes, you're beautiful. Yes, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful, baby. There's a million people underneath the sun that can find a million more but never find the one. There's a girl who did this and the social life was a man.
Alright folks, welcome back to Caribbean Focus TV, and on today's show, of course, we are talking about the Grenada independence, and in studio with me I have the beautiful Miss Cheryl Theg, the president, the vice president that is, of the Grenada Atlanta Association, and I also have Miss Anthea Rollo, who is the treasurer, the funny lady who's making us laugh on the show. Once again, as we talk about independence, and coming back to you guys, okay? What led to the breakdown? What's your opinion as to what led to the breakdown between the Gary government and the opposition parties at the time around independence?
There you go. Yeah, there.
Well,
I remember a little bit.
Okay.
Good.
Well, I mean, what I would say is basically it was there was a lot of, for one thing I remember, there was police brutality.
Okay.
So you had a lot of that going on, and, I guess differences, because the Grenada United Labour Party, which was the leading party, and you had the NJM at that time, Mutual Movement, of which Morris Bishop was a part, among other people. I think that movement was started by one Teddy Victor from up St. David's way up there.
Right.
And then when they came back to Grenada, they all became part of it, and there was stuff. And they put out a newspaper, which they couldn't publish. They had to put it underground. So they had people would go out and sell the paper, but it was like an underground paper because a lot of things were denied them. So eventually they got frustrated with a lot of the things that they weren't able to do, or for the things they fought for the masses, as they referred to the people. And so that brought on a lot of the strikes and different things, because like in 74, the entire island was shut down, like I said, I think before, but we had strikes. Schools were shut. The secondary school children went out in protest because, for example, Unison Whiteman was an economics teacher at the Presentation Brothers College.
Right.
And on one of the things was one of the demonstrations, there's something they were fighting, asking for, whatever, and if it didn't happen, one of the kids from I think GBSS would go up to college to let them know that they're out, and this college went out, and then all the schools went out.
Oh, okay.
You see, like the high school, so they had like a runner, let's say, went up, say, well, look, we on strike, we out there in the street. So you had a lot of schools in their uniforms left school and protested. We had to, yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. What was in your opinion, what was the level of people leaving the country? Because we know Miss Cheryl here left the country very young.
Yes.
She might have missed a lot of the issues or all the stuff that took place leading up to independence.
Right.
I tease her about that.
A lot.
What do you guys think about what led to people leaving the country? Do you think that had some contributions to that or no?
Not really. because people migrated way before that.
Right.
50s, 60s,
Uh-huh.
went to England, different places. Some people made it to the United States via Cuba, cutting cane in Cuba.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that. But they went through Cuba. Some people went working Panama Canal, different places. We went all over the world.
Okay.
So, and they migrated. It didn't stop migration. But then when these things happened, as things continued to happen, people were traveling, so migration continued despite the circumstances.
Well,
Well,
go
okay,
ahead.
I could interject here. I know I was like 13 at the time,
Okay.
But I remember in New York, we expressed the same. Some was jubilant about the independence, and some had a lot of questions. Why is this happening? So I know in New York, we sort of like, we formed little pockets, and we used to go to meetings just to get information what's going on in Grenada and how we could help.
Right.
Because we heard of the brutalities, we heard about the Morris Bishop, and we heard about Sir Eric Gary and his mongoose gang and things like that happening. So in New York now, we was like, well, how could we help?
Right.
So there were pockets of just little things. Like I said, I remember being 13 or 14, but my brothers and sisters went to these informational meetings.
Okay, so let me ask you, so outside of Grenada at that particular moment, the atmosphere, for example, in New York was somewhat of anxiety or anxiousness, or?
Yes, quite a bit of anxiety. Like I said, because we didn't know to what extent,
Right.
as Anthea lived through it, we didn't know the extent of what was going on.
Right.
All right. I don't ever recall a island having school closed down because of brutality and stuff.
Right.
But in New York, we're hearing that, and back in the day, we didn't have cell phones and stuff, so we had to rely on what we heard. By the way,
We didn't have the luxury before we have
okay,
today.
so we had to actually take so we gathered in pockets and shared information, and then we said, well, how could we help? Because now it's our friends, it's our family back there, and the little bit of information we were getting, we just had to work with the New York connection, as they say.
Okay. So I'm gonna come back to you with what happened in New York, for example, because we know we get a very large population of Grenadians living in New York.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Anthea,
Yes.
after this whole civil conflict took place, what was the atmosphere in Grenada? After everything, was there a calm after the storm, or what took place?
Well, I wouldn't say to an extent it was a calm. It was just people went about. It was just like you just in the mode or whatever the anxiety, because really that never ended to that extent up until the revolution, because after independence you continued living. But then again, you had a situation where Morris Bishop, Kenrick Radix, Unison Whiteman, a whole bunch of them got beaten up one Sunday at a meeting in Simoon. You understand?
And that's Simoon St. Andrews.
Simoon St. Andrews.
Okay.
And they were in the jail cells in St. Andrews without medical attention. They had the pictures out and stuff like that. And this all happened before the elections in 1976.
Right.
Where the New Jewel movement at that point won 2 seats. One of them being, I think, Carriacou, and I'm not sure it was, St. David's they didn't, because that's where Sir Eric's wife ran, and she's from that area,
Okay.
so they did win that seat. But I think they only got 2 seats.
Okay.
It could have been Carriacou and St. Patrick's. And so that election, I remember that election because we stayed up all night playing Monopoly,
Right.
waiting for the results. And then after 76, there was still the uneasiness, but you could tell there was definitely a difference in parties in the country. It was not easy flow. This is where you're from, this is where you live, you went ahead. But
Right.
it was not nothing where you could have just relaxed into it. It was still a struggle.
Were there more political parties being
Well, they had
developed as
some
a
others,
result?
but they didn't. Like, for example, there was a guy that was, his party was GOD. Good old democracy. Got 1 vote, his own. So they had other little parties like UPP, United Labour Party, one little other parties, but never really did. The main parties at that point was then, in the early times, was NJM, which is not NJM, GNP,
GNP.
and GULP. Those were the main parties.
And
then you had
GULP was Sir Eric
Sir
Maxwell at the
Eric's
time.
party. GNP was Herbert Blaze was the leader of that party.
Give me the explanation as to what GULP means.
Grenada United Labour Party.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And the GNP?
Grenada National Party.
Okay.
And then the NJM came out from New Jewel Movement.
Okay.
Right. And so those eventually became the real things. And then after 76 election, they went ahead, and then you came 77, 78, and by 79 we had the revolution.
Okay, so speaking of, before we go into the revolution, what was the role of the what do you call him? Is it the Governor General?
Oh, the Governor General. He is a representative, whoever the Governor General is. Our first Governor General was Dame Hilda Bino.
Okay.
Was a female for many years.
Right.
She was the Governor General. And then you had the Governor General is actually a representative of the Queen that is in your country even though you are independent. And for example, some ministers in your government, in your government can be appointed.
Okay.
And so to appoint a minister, the Prime Minister has to make that recommendation to the Governor General who does the appointing.
Okay.
So whatever else is his role, but I know that's one of his roles.
Okay.
And so, but you always have a Governor General. When you have a, your functions or whatever, your Governor General is there. He may be at the opening of Parliament or something, but there's a Governor General. That's why I say you are not totally independent unless you are a republic.
Okay. So at that particular moment, was there anything that the Governor General was saying to the people or the masses of Grenada from the Queen as a representative?
They were not saying anything.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of things, like some of the cases, some of the things that happen, you would think that, and that's what probably led up to the revolution, because nobody was paying attention to the human rights of the masses when these things were happening.
Okay.
No, none of the countries that denounce, well, you don't want to get to the revolution, but anyway, denounced the revolution when it came about. When people were being brutalized, where were you saying this shouldn't happen?
Okay.
So all of those things was fuel to the fire that really actually led to the revolution.
Okay, we'll take another short break. Once again, for those of you who are just joining us, you are watching Caribbean Focus TV as we focus primarily on the island of Grenada as it celebrates its 38th anniversary of independence. Stay focused. We'll be right back.
Move, real, mad, bad. It goes like that. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. They go out to say I'm mad. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. They go out to say I'm mad. All you come, all you jump, all you wave, all you wine, all you. Take a picture, make a pose. They never see jam like those. Jab fingers, jab toes. This jab don't have no clothes. Go on exit in my brain. A snake is me only chain. Black blood running through my vein. It more than me than cocaine. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. They go out to say I'm mad. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. They go out to say I'm mad. All you come, all you jump, all you wave, all you wine, all you. This girl liquid as she bun, whining in a chop bun. This one she wearing a tongue, but she whining on a man. This one she don't really care. A stocking alone she wear. I know she don't have no fear. She don't business easy. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. They go out to say I'm mad. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. They go out to say I'm mad. All you come, all you jump, all you wave, all you wine, all you. The devil hiding in hell. He had nicknamed JC Bell. The last time a lady fell when she heard the jab spell. I drinking rum from a pail, eating piece of rabbit tail. If I ever make a jail, a jab them go take me ill. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. They go out to say I'm mad. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. I play no wicked job. They go out to say I'm mad. All you come, all you jump, all you wave, all you wine, all you. wicked job. I playing a wicked job. I playing a wicked job. They go off to say I'm mad. I playing a wicked job. I playing a wicked job. I playing a wicked job. They go off to say I'm mad. All you come, all you jump, all you wave, all you wine, all you.
Alright guys, so once again we're back here on Caribbean Focus TV, and once again we are talking to the Grenada associates here on Caribbean Focus TV as we speak about the Grenada independence. It's actually its 38th anniversary of independence. And with our conversation, we're going to continue here speaking about the revolution, Miss Anthea.
Yes, sir.
Tell us, give us your opinion on the revolution. What happened during the revolution? Because you were right there with everything that was going on. Of course, I was there too. For those of you who don't know, yes, I am a fellow Grenadian. I'm proud to say that. I'm a spice man. I was a kid, of course. I'm not going to say my age. But yes, and I saw a few things during the revolution time, because this is my time now. Okay, I didn't know anything about the independence, but I knew the history of it. You know, from being reading in school and education. But again, tell us, what was your experience during the revolution? What took place on the island during that time?
During the revolution?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I remember the morning of March 13th, 1979. I got up because every morning I had to wet the plants, and I was outside, and it was still outside. No cars were on the street. It was just a still morning. Nobody knew this was going to happen, except, you know, the planners and so on. And then the radio did not come on.
Wow.
And then the radio came on, and it said, "This is the voice of the People's Revolutionary Government." And they will come back. Just brief intervals, then music or something, or it was very quiet, and then they would come in and say that. We didn't know what was happening. And a friend from St. Andrews had called my aunt and told her, "Turn on the radio, they have a revolution." Something. She said, "What happened? This man is a fanatic," because he was a strong NJM supporter. She thought he had lost his marbles now, you know, with everything. And then there it was. Then we saw a few cars passing up and soldiers with guns and stuff.
So everything took place mostly in the city.
Well, no, well, I guess it did, but remember, this was planned well, because they sent people out. When you have a revolution, remember, you have embassies and posts in foreign lands. So they sent their people out to these countries and places. So when this happened, they moved in to take control of these locations.
Okay.
Whether it was the United Nations, where they had a representative, or the office in DC, or wherever.
Okay.
So these things happened overseas, and when whatever happened in Grenada, then they took charge of the radio station, you know, the key points, because they had that control, and the barracks, and, you know, different things where they moved in. And, you know, I don't know all the operation, but I know that they had to do those things. That's what they did in order to be in control.
Okay.
And so, you know, it was like a day off, but it was, for a lot of people, it was, I don't know if you know what it, well, it feels like when you had a load, you know, and it was like people were happy then, you know. You saw a difference at that point. You know, people don't, some people, for them, they didn't like it.
Let me turn to Cheryl real quick. Now, from the New York side of things, where, of course, you were not in the islands.
Right.
You were among the Grenadian people living outside of Grenada.
Right.
And there were riots. There were criminal stuff going on in Grenada, where a prime minister is being executed, for example. Okay. What can you say the reaction of the people outside of Grenada then were?
Well, mostly, of course, was concern. Okay, because once again, you really don't know. You hear, but you don't know. But because we've you know, there's established little pockets between, you know, in New York, the people who were getting the news and trying to disseminate to us. I remember Evelyn Maitland, for example. I mean, a young man later on got killed, you know, in the 83 invasion. But you know, they would come and let us know, you know, yes, it is bad. It is real bad. We don't even know if there's going to be a Grenada after this.
Right.
All right. Because you're trying to stop, or, you know, the people for NJM, they're trying to do a good thing, you know, but yet you have the strongholders who, the people for Mr. Gary at the time, you know, like I'm small, so I said Garyite.
Right.
Because that's what I heard around the house. They were trying, you know, to prevent the new blood, the young blood, the innovators from coming in.
Right.
All right. So in New York, yes, we're the New Yorkers, we're the New York Grenadians who have lived there, and we know the difference. We've heard about the brutality. We're hoping that, yes, Maurice Bishop is going to bring that change.
Right.
All right. So a lot of as far as I remember, most of the New Yorkers and most of the Grenadians and New Yorkers was for Bishop.
Right.
You know, I mean,
because apparently he was represented as the people's leader.
Yes.
He was
Oh, he
more the
was.
calm
Yes.
type.
He was our comrade leader, my
the
brother.
calm type, you know, like I said, he brought innovation. You know, they expected better things to take place
Okay.
in Grenada under him or with the New Jewel movement.
Going back to Antia, how did the revolution benefited Grenada? Do you think it actually made a big difference?
Oh, it did.
I know this was waiting for you to come out now.
No, because you see, for me, the revolution, when it happened.
I know it touched your heart right there.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It does. A lot of people. It does, because there are people in Grenada. In Grenada, if you go to school, you go to secondary school, as we say. From that, you may go to teachers' college. You may teach. If your family don't have funds to send you to university, you don't get that opportunity.
Right.
Because it's expensive. You have to go to Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, whatever. The number of people that got scholarships to other countries, a lot of students went to Cuba, became doctors and, you know, different things, you know, agronomists, different professions. Young fellow I know, veterinarian, you know, come back to Grenada and can, you know, and they came back. The revolution offered that opportunity. People traveled and didn't have to pay this money. It did a lot of stuff. We opened the Grenada agro industries. We had the Grenada marketing board. All of these things came under the revolution. We had the stone plant where you could make your stone and stuff for the. It's a lot of stuff.
So it was really a developmental stage economically for the island.
Yes.
So you say
yes.
so. What I'm hearing from you now is that if Maurice Bishop was alive today, you think the country would have been in a much better place.
Yes, I believe.
I believe so.
I
too.
totally believe
Yes.
it. Probably I
Wow.
may not have been.
Yes.
Well, you know.
I left after the invasion.
Right. I mean, based on me doing my research and reading a lot, of course I was young then as well, you know, I felt something very similar to the revolution, just like you expressed, because I knew I touched a very soft spot in you once I asked that question. But yeah, I can see how you guys feel, especially going through the whole transitional period where you come from independence, you come from that phase, and then you go into a revolution and how it benefited it. And on top of that, the leader wasn't even there to see those transitions took place. You know, he was gone. And he's up to today. Was his body ever found?
I am not sure
I don't
that
think
they
so.
did. No, I don't think so.
Exactly.
I don't think they did say where it was. I mean, that was the sad part of the whole thing. But even the fact that we have an international airport today, as much as they didn't want to, it took them a long time. It is now finally the Maurice Bishop International Airport. But I landed on Maurice Bishop International Airport way before they even
called it
that, because that's what it was.
He
I
initiated the
knew
project.
when it was the lighthouse. I knew when they blasted it. I was there. We went up there. We saw when it came down. I mean, it was like, you know, and as much as people talk against, you know, other places like Cuba and stuff, we got a lot of students went there, and they're the ones that really, you know, did the airport basically for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, if you're just joining us, you are watching Caribbean Focus TV as we speak about Grenada and its 30th anniversary of independence. Now, let me ask you, coming back to you guys again, the U.S. intervened in Grenada during that time. What role did the U.S. play, and how did it affect the people of Grenada?
Well, it's the invasion, as we call it.
Right.
But I want you to know that it was in the U.S. cards to come to Grenada since Ronald Reagan was in the
president of the U.S.
States.
Right.
When he came into power, during that time, they had a lot of changes. You had a change in Iran. You had a change in Nicaragua. You had different changes,
different
countries.
areas.
All kind of turmoil was going on. You even had problems in England and every place.
Right.
But when he got into power, he had two countries in mind. He said it, Nicaragua and Grenada. Now, what was their concern? Basically, because we were friends with Cuba and the Soviet Union and all of this, and they figure
Cuba was a real
Yes.
close to the Soviet Union.
yes. But the thing about it is that was in the Caribbean. But they offered us help. We got a lot of help there. Like I said, during the time we were being brutalized, nobody said we need to help them. So these countries recognize you and whatever, and whatever happened with the political side. But they did good things for us, I must say. So they were coming. Whatever you may hear or heard, because you have to remember there's a thing called political propaganda. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but there is such a thing. And
Real talk.
it is true. And so when you tell me that Eugenia Charles from Dominica called you because Paul Schoon, who was the then Governor General, called her, and you came in to rescue the medical students that were there. When you lived there, they were not in any danger because nobody bothered them. When you told me you came to fight, when you saw that movie Heartbreak Ridge, that's a big old thing because Cubans were not fighting. Let me tell you, the Cubans were on the house arrest down at the airport because when
they were part of the building of the airport.
Yes, but when the invasion actually happened, you see Heartbreak Ridge portrayed that they came and they were fighting Cubans.
Okay.
That didn't happen.
Okay.
So those are the things that when some news go out, that's the propaganda that go out. So when you out here and you heard we were wearing, they had boots for us to wear and all of that. I lived there. I was there.
Okay.
I didn't see no boots. You understand? So all these things, so you have to be able, when you get news, that's why you have to know what is propaganda.
What is facts?
Yes. When the news is playing over and over for you to keep hearing the same thing over and over, that's what you're going to believe.
Okay.
You don't pay attention to what actually is the truth.
Okay, so now that we celebrated our 30th year of independence, what state is the country in today? I mean, I've been back home a few years ago. I'm sure we all have.
We were there 2 years ago, 10, yes.
Okay.
And it's a lot of development.
So you guys have gone back there more recent than I have.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
What,
and we had a ball, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
What state would you say the country is in now based on its development? Coming from the revolution, the independence, what state are we in today, you think?
Well, let me answer on this side of the coin.
Okay.
For me, seeing Grenada after many years and knowing things that has gone through, Grenada is beautiful.
Yes,
all right,
I must say.
It really and truly, it's beautiful. The people are still as friendly and nice as ever. You cannot tell there's stress on the people.
Right.
All right, they live their life, they enjoy the life. And they present Grenada as the one unspoiled island in the Caribbean. Thank you. It's still unspoiled. But the but is politically, as in all other islands, all other countries, the undertone of the politics is rearing. All right? A lot of people sort of like put it under the rug. Some of us who live abroad, we just hear what we hear as usual. But for the people that live in there right now, they're back to the strife.
Yeah.
I believe that there are more concerns right now in Grenada than ever before.
You think that's because of the way the country is ran now by this new government, you think?
Well, I don't know, My thing is, I think regardless to what, for some reason, we have, as small as we are, remember we have 3 islands, okay?
That's correct.
Carriacou and Petit Martinique. We can't leave them out because they're there.
They're part of the Spice Isle.
And whatever goes on, like you say, there is that political rift right now. And one party vying the other and stuff like that. But all in all, the people will determine who they want to rule them. And when it comes to the fact that they have to have an election or whatever, that's where you're going to really see. Because many times you think I know one guy ran for election. He had a big fit. Everybody was there. He didn't win a seat. The same people who ate his food didn't vote for him.
Okay.
I think the Prime Minister right now is pretty good. He's straightforward. He does his best to, you know, bring out the truth and try to bring the message to the people or whatever. But some people don't like him. They think he's soft and whatever. But he's an honest man.
Right.
And honest men and politics apparently
They don't go well together.
it don't seem to go well.
Well, of course
So you
not.
have, but outside of that, Grenada on its own by itself, because we have our big carnival in August, and like that has become the thing of the Caribbean, Spice Mass. Everybody is, I mean,
the jab.
Yeah.
you can't get a flight going home.
I know.
If you wait too late
I've
to
tried.
go home.
I tried to go and I
You understand what I'm saying?
Too late.
Yeah. Because people will continue to, regardless, we are resilient. We
Okay.
like when the hurricane tornado hit us in 2004 and when we came back, our soil, we are like our soil.
Right.
You understand?
Okay.
There's, we did, someone referred to our soil. This man came from England years ago. He was in one of the British papers because he goes up there for the Chelsea flower show. He came to Grenada in the 60s. He said in Grenada, if you put a stick in the ground, it will grow.
That's
He
correct.
came and he never left.
I tell you,
So that's how the Grenadian people are as their soil.
I tell you, I went back home quite a few years ago, and when I landed, it was so green.
Yes.
It was, and that was after Ivan as well.
Yes.
It was so green, and even my son, who was 2 years old at the time, he was just loving it.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, guys, we'll take another break, and we can take a look at a video that represents Grenada at its best, and it's one of the greatest tourism destination or vacation destination that you could ever attend, with the very nicest people, very peaceful, friendly, and what you call gay. In a good way.
In a good way.
Stay focused. We'll be right back.
Picture a place where the people are so friendly. A place where life moves at a more tranquil pace. A place where diversity makes every day so exciting. A place that is highly perfumed with exotic spices. Picture a place more beautiful than any other. Grenada, the spice of the Caribbean. The state of Grenada includes Carriacou and Petit Martinique and many other small islands. Together they form the southernmost tip of the Grenadine island chain. The largest of the islands is Grenada itself, followed by Carriacou and Petit Martinique, just a few miles north of the mainland. Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique are the home of 100,000 people, the majority of African descent. Most of the population lives in and around St. George's, the capital of Grenada, which is also the location for one of the world's most breathtaking natural harbors. It is here that visitors from around the world arrive on cruise ships and international air carriers to see this Caribbean town steeped in history and tradition, yet blended with modern conveniences. A short distance out of town, there's unbelievable scenery. 3,000 feet above sea level in the mountains surrounding the city and beyond, between the lush rainforests etched by gentle streams and rivers, you're sure to catch a glimpse of the rolling Atlantic Ocean. Or the calm Caribbean Sea. The crystal clear waters beckon you to indulge. It is in these waters that Grenada also offers some of the most amazing sights below the surface, as these islands offer the finest diving in the Caribbean. Grenada is spice in every meaning of the word. The spice of life. Unforgettable days of fun in the sun. So many surrounding islands to visit. The best beaches in the world. and so much more. There's nothing like a leisurely hike in the mountains to take in the scenery, including crater lakes, surrounding mountains, rivers flowing into spectacular waterfalls, and secluded bays and beaches. Grenada's heritage is as rich in flavor as the spices are. You can tour plantations, estates and rum factories, still functioning today as they were in days of old. There's no wonder that Grenada is known as the spice of the Caribbean. The island is one of the world's largest producers of nutmeg. You will see the distinctive trees almost everywhere you go and enjoy the flavor in refreshing Grenadian drinks and exotic cuisine. Grenadians are proud of what they have to offer visitors and are constantly striving to improve. The modern stadium attracts major sporting events, including international cricket. The triathlon at Easter beckons the athletic and adventurous spirit. Besides offering facilities for those who like playing hard, Grenada also offers lots for those who want to party hardy. The state of Grenada has 2 carnivals, one in Grenada itself and the other in Carriacou. The colourful costumes, glistening in the sunlight against the backdrop of tropical colours and moving to the accompaniment of pulsating calypso rhythms, will remain embedded in your memory for years to come. But Carnival is only one of the rich cultural festivals on the calendar. The mixture of African, French and English influences has brought about other festivals on the islands. Sailors also know the 3 islands to be a mecca for yachting, as each offers its own regatta, where the fun of friendly competition seems to outweigh the goal of winning. Visiting yachtsmen will find safe shelter in the many bays forming natural harbours. Finding a comfortable place to call a home away from home is never an issue. Grenada offers luxury, all-inclusive and family-run resorts and hotels. Intimate inns, villas, and apartments.
Now, it's not a nice video. Look at this island. I mean, what you just see was the very best of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Once again, as we continue our conversation here on Caribbean Focus TV with our 38th anniversary of independence, speaking about the Spice Isle, the Isle of Spice, where everything is nice.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Yes.
And on the show, we have the Vice President, Ms. Sharon Theg, and the Treasurer, Ms. Anthea Rollo. Tell us a little bit about the, as we come to the end of our show, tell us a little bit about the Grenada Atlanta Association. What do you guys do, and how can you guys be contacted at some given, any point in time?
Well, we're here as the main support for Grenadians in Atlanta.
Okay.
Okay.
Like myself?
Like yourself, definitely. We try to, put information out there, but our main focus really is to keep our culture. Mm-hmm. All right. We do. We also came from a small cultural group, so we try to do little cultural events. But we do have a major fundraiser. Right after Hurricane Ivan, we started our fundraiser that we support, things back home, like children homes or the home for the aged, or any other, necessity that we find, or some people ask us for help. Yeah. We would do that assistance. So every year we do have a fundraiser, and those funds go towards whatever project we've been asked to do.
How long has the organization been in existence?
Originally, like I said, we were a group, a cultural group from '96. Okay. And then when Hurricane Ivan came about, we pretty much switched over to the association. So we were called the Grenada Atlanta. We are called the Grenada Atlanta Association. Okay. I'm based here in Decatur, and
Decatur, Georgia.
Decatur, Georgia,
Right.
correct? And we have a website, which is the GrenadaATL.us, and we put out all of our information there.
Say the website again to the viewers.
GrenadaATL.us.
Okay.
Okay, and there is a major picnic we do have that we gather all our friends and family and friends of Grenadians, and that is held in August. And that brings in all of our Grenadians here in Atlanta and the surrounding metro area.
Okay.
And we just celebrate Grenada in the best way we can, with good food, with good people, with fellowship, cricket games, all those things that we grew up with.
Yeah.
Is there a telephone number that you guys can be reached at as well?
Yes, there is. The main number for the association is 770-808-3309.
Give that number again.
That's good. 770-808-3309. Okay.
Okay.
And we do have, we send out information through email. So if you need to contact us, you could go right ahead and contact us at the GrenadaAtlanta@gmail.com.
That's Grenada Atlanta?
GrenadaAtlanta@gmail.com.
That's good.
All right. So if we have not contacted you, because we do call-in posts, we do email blasts, anything that's happening, we try to get the information out as quickly and as big as possible.
Okay.
But you can reach us at the GrenadaAtlanta@gmail.com.
All right. So once again, you are watching Caribbean Focus TV. As we come to the end of this segment of the show, we were talking to the Grenada Atlanta Association Vice President, Miss Shara Tegg, and also Miss Anthea Rollo, that is, who is the treasurer of the Grenada Atlanta Association. And once again, they can be reached at GrenadaAtlanta@gmail.com for all the information. So make sure you stay focused with them as well, just like you stay focused on Caribbean Focus TV.
Yes.
Ladies, I want to take the time to thank you very much for coming to Caribbean Focus TV.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, Essie.
All right.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you guys soon again.
Yes.
Is
Maybe at our event coming up.
That's fine. That's okay. We get much events coming up during the year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would love to be a part of that. So just make sure you keep in touch with me as well. All right. Is there anything you want to add here, Miss Anthea?
No, just to thank you for the opportunity, because, just to get Grenada out there. There's some Grenadians or other people here that may wish to be a part of us, and we welcome you, and thank you for that. And
Sure, that's what we do here at Caribbean Focus TV. Yeah. Once again, you are watching Caribbean Focus TV. That's right. I am your host, Ezra Benjamin, aka DJ Ezzy B. Stay focused.
As you know, here on Caribbean Focus TV, we always bring you some of the best information.
That's right.
For those of you who didn't know about your heritage, your Caribbean heritage, I feel that interview was awesome, my friend. You did an awesome job.
We went really deep, and like I said to you before, it was not a formal preparation. However, we wanted to just hit it and keep it real.
Yeah.
And so you can feel the real vibes, the connection.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that took place back in Grenada during that time. So, yeah, it was a good look. It was a good look.
That was very sincere. I like the different perspectives, from within the country, outside of the country.
Exactly.
That was really good.
It was interesting for me, too, because you know what? I wanted to know exactly what took place outside. What was the reaction of the people outside of Grenada at the time. So,
yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, you already know CaribbeanFocusTV@gmail.com is our email address. Send us some feedback. Did you like what you saw? Do you want us to focus on another country that you have in mind? Let us know. And you already know our website, CaribbeanFocusTV.com.
Exactly. Don't forget to log on to our website, as you said, CaribbeanFocusTV.com. Go onto our archive page for this interview and a whole lot more for our past shows. Okay?
Most definitely. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us again for another episode of Caribbean Focus TV. You have your girl, Cherry Garden, and your boy,
DJ SEB, and
stay focused.